kept on a leash.
And Information Executive Management Team who are joining us via Zoom, members of the media who are also joining us via Zoom. Good afternoon. This afternoon, our minister will be providing an update as it relates to the preparation for back to school. Minister?
Thank you, PS. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, colleagues, members of the media. At yesterday's sitting of the Houses of Parliament, I outlined the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information's plans and programs for the official start of the new year next Monday, October 5. As you are aware, students will remain at home and receive the teaching and learning experience in a number of different ways. The first way would be online through the Google Learning Management System. We've been creating the email addresses for students and teachers, and we already note that there are almost 200,000 students logged in to become familiar with the learning management system. We will be broadcasting lessons on dedicated channels on TVJ and CVM, the cable network and radio stations. We will be publishing the schedule for each grade. We will also have printed material consisting of textbooks and worksheets, and these will be delivered to students, paying particular attention to students who are not online and may not have access to the lessons that are being broadcasted. It is important here for our teachers and students to be in touch with each other and for parents to take a keen interest in picking up the printed material and helping to get the work the child has completed to the teacher, for the teacher to mark and give feedback to the child. We're going to talk today about some additional educational resources that are being made available. Under the National Textbook Loan Scheme and the Primary Textbook Program, the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information is providing educational textbooks, worksheets, and electronic resources such as apps at a cost of approximately $626 million for the primary level and approximately $200 million for the secondary level for this school year. That's a total of $826 million, which will be spent on educational resources, hard copy, and electronic for the academic year. It must be noted that the ministry has provided the full complement of textbooks needed by the schools for this term. At the lower primary level, grades 1 to 3, the usual workbooks are being provided for integrated studies and mathematics. For the first time, the ministry will provide workbooks for the upper primary levels at grade 5 and 6 for the academic year, so parents do not have to buy these workbooks this year. This initiative, we believe, will assist in alleviating the financial challenges being faced by parents during this COVID-19 pandemic. At the secondary level, grade 7 to 11, a blended approach is being used. The students will have access to hard copy workbooks and textbooks. Additionally, we will be piloting e-books and other e-content for the various subject areas at a cost of approximately $200 million. 38,000 e-books are being procured for the new school year for the specified subject areas at the secondary level. So for the grade 9 students, there will be e-books available in the separate science. For grades 7 to 11, ebooks will be available in English language. For grades 10 and 11 students, ebooks will be available in Principles of Business. And again, for grades 10 and 11 students as well, there'll be ebooks in Principles of Accounts. It must be noted that most of the ebooks this year are flat books, meaning PDF, and thus are not interactive. The research shows, however, that full interactivity is most impactful at the primary level rather than at the secondary level. At the secondary level, only one approved title per subject is procured for each school. This means that students will receive access codes for either English for All or English Matters Book 1. The title of the books given to each school is based on the orders previously submitted by the school. In terms of psychosocial support, given the COVID-19 pandemic, we know that this will be an important area of support for our parents and students. So the ministry's guidance and counseling unit, in collaboration with the guidance counselors at the school level and clinical service providers, will provide counseling, psychosocial, and empowerment sessions for the children, staff, and parents. The Guidance and Counseling Unit has developed a psychosocial plan to guide interventions at the school level for the first term of the new school year. The unit will continue to support guidance counselors to develop and implement psychosocial plans at the school level and will monitor the progress for greater impact. All schools are expected to implement a psychosocial plan. Telecounseling will continue in collaboration with the Child Guidance Clinic, supported by UNICEF. Students who were referred to the Child Guidance Clinic will continue to benefit from ongoing counseling, though not in school. 35 psychosocial helplines for parents are available across all 7 regions through the efforts of the National Parenting Support Commission in collaboration with UNICEF, Victoria Mutual Foundation, and Fight for Peace. Youth empowerment sessions were implemented by the Youth Division with a focus on students' safety and psychosocial care, as well as their readiness for back to school. We will also be providing nutritional support through NPL. The government will continue to provide nutritional support to students on path through Nutritional Products Limited. Schools have been asked to submit information this week. This will allow Nutrition Products Limited to begin distributing products to the schools next week. We also developed a communication strategy. An email address for back-to-school queries has been created to be available as well on Friday. And that email address is educate@educate.gov.jm. So that's educate@educate.gov.jm. We also have a back to school website or landing page that has been created to go live on Friday of this week as well. And that can be accessed at educate.gov.jm. This page will direct parents, teachers, and students to the relevant documents and resources for online or distance learning, and the good news is that it will be zero rated, meaning you do not have to have a data plan in order to access that site. So again, it's educate.gov.jm. We will also be engaging town criers to get the message out to parents, especially those in rural areas and our inner city communities. Short videos are being created using the learning regarding using the learning management system and accessing other services. And we know that these short videos are effective because persons are able to WhatsApp them around to each other, and there will be many such short videos, and we hope that you publish them widely across your many groups, your many WhatsApp groups. In addition, our youth empowerment and parent sessions have commenced today and will be on until Sunday. These will also be recorded for viewing when convenient. So, ladies and gentlemen, the ministry has had extensive dialogue with our stakeholders. The support and interventions outlined are the result of the dialogue and consultations. Our hope is that, despite the obvious challenges brought on by COVID-19, thank you.
Okay, thank you for that presentation, Minister.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We're now going to be turning to the panelists who are on Zoom. And Ms. Sherry,
from Jamaica,
This is a message from the Early Childhood Commission. Do you have a child between 0 to 2 years of age? If yes, you need to download the ECC's First 1000 Days app. It allows you to receive parenting tips, track developmental milestones, learn about the Brain Builder concept, receive relevant articles and research, plus interactive content. The First 1000 Days app, now available for download on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store.
During COVID-19 pandemic, avoid risky sexual behaviors. Remember that condoms are the only method that simultaneously protect against pregnancy and reduce the risk of sexually transmitted infections, including HIV. This is a message from the UNFPA Sub-Regional Office for the Caribbean and our partners.
What can a little germs do?
Pink eye, running belly, even flu. Germs can make them happen to you.
Put germs on our manners with these. Cover your mouth when you cough and sneeze. Always wash your hand with water and soap. Keep dirty hands from your eyes and your nose and your mouth. You don't want to be sick, take care. Practice every day, no germs around here. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Now that you're speaking out, do more. Do more. Help fight crime. Do the right thing and report what you know. Do the right thing and publicly demand change. Hold government accountable for better governance. Protect your environment and health. Do the right thing and keep your community clean. If we all do the right thing and build integrity, Jamaica will be the place to live, work, raise families, and do business.
Reduce your risk of viral illnesses like the flu and coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing with a tissue and dispose of it. Avoid close contact with anyone with the cold or flu-like symptoms. If you think you've been exposed to COVID-19, stay home. Self-isolate immediately and call 888-1-LOVE. That's 888-663-5683. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
If you discover a large fire within a building, sound the alarm, leave the building immediately. Proceed to the assembly point. Ensure that the fire department is called and report to the person in charge of roll call. And don't return to the building unless instructed. Educate yourself.
Crime is Jamaica's #1 threat. As we stay apart while working together to fight COVID-19, we must all live good and unite against crime and violence in Jamaica. Live good means talk it out, don't fight it out. We must live good to build a safe Jamaica. Stay home, stay safe, live good.
If you feel frustrated and angry due to COVID-19, do not target your family. Better release the stress by doing physical exercises on your own or do an activity that you and your loved ones will enjoy together. This is a message from the UNFPA Sub-Regional Office for the Caribbean and our partners.
Watch yourself online, that's what my crew say. Make it a new day. A reminder by the Broadcasting Commission. We the BCJ. What if it was your friend in the mix? What if it was your sis in the pics? What if you want a terrorist watch list? What if suppose that one? What you do? Don't like, don't comment, don't click. Report it, block it, don't make it stick. Don't trust everybody on the internet. Use it to step up your intellect. So online you have to be safe too. Don't believe the rumors or the fake news. Don't go everywhere they try to take you. Protect the kids or they find a way through. What if it was your friend in the mix? What if it was your sis in the pics? What if you want a terrorist watch list? What if suppose that go on? What if wait up free?
times are hard, but can selling your vote really make a difference in your life? How many of them even remember you and your community? What you need is opportunity for yourself and for your children. Don't sell your vote. It is illegal. Respect your vote. Vote for opportunity. A message from USAID Comet 2, NIA, and partners.
There's a long-distance relay that's still on. Many have taken it this far, each leg as important as the next, each challenge faced with determination. Now it's your turn to take the baton. People living with HIV and AIDS and those who are vulnerable need your commitment. It stands in the way of a better quality of life for all of us and our self-respect as a region. It stands in the way of victory in the fight to stop the spread of HIV. Reject stigma and discrimination. Get us to zero.
If you discover a large fire within a building, sound the alarm, leave the building immediately. Proceed to the assembly point. Ensure that the fire department is called and report to the person in charge of roll call. And don't return to the building unless instructed. Educate yourself.
The corrupt are getting away too often. Help catch them now. Jamaicans must call 1-800-CORRUPT.
Yes!
Enforce the law. One law for all. If convicted and found guilty, lock them up. It's our money that's being wasted. Lock them up. Stop the corruption. Build integrity. A message from National Integrity Action.
In Jamaica, there needs to be one law for all. Every member of this society, regardless of profession, finances, or the area you live in.
I have some bad news.
The company didn't get the contract?
The money they paid us for it has gotten out.
Are you serious?
I'm afraid so. And I understand that there are going to be corruption charges.
Minister, please come with us, sir.
Breaking news. A senior politician and senior civil servant have been charged for corruption.
Thank God not all of them stay, sir.
Build integrity. One law for all.
A message from NIA.
During COVID-19 pandemic, avoid risky sexual behaviors. Remember that condoms are the only method that simultaneously protect against pregnancy and reduce the risk of sexually transmitted infections, including HIV. This is a message from the UNFPA Sub-Regional Office for the Caribbean and our partners.
There's a long-distance relay that's still on. Many have taken it this far, each leg as important as the next, each challenge faced with determination. Now it's your turn to take the baton. People living with HIV and AIDS and those who are vulnerable need your commitment. It stands in the way of a better quality of life for all of us and our self-respect as a region. It stands in the way of victory in the fight to stop the spread of HIV. Reject stigma and discrimination. Get us to zero.
The answers to those questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister. So, Janella, we agree with you that assessment is very, very important. And we assess for a number of reasons. You would have admitted earlier that we would have asked the students to be promoted without any end-of-year assessment. And we would have communicated prior to now that we would have provided a suite of assessment tools for our schools to utilize at the beginning of the academic year, which is what we would have called our diagnostic tools. Those tools are available, Janella. Our schools will be provided with these by the end of this week. We have also moved with the times. We have moved the exam into electronic form. So those schools that are able to operate their online version or approach, they'll be able to administer the exam in an electronic mode. That is also available for the core areas for use that information to design the learning plans going forward. So the diagnostic tools that we have developed and migrated to the online platform, the teachers are now able to analyze those grades instantly. So the system will mark those electronically and the analysis report will be available. There's a manual that we have developed and that will be shared with our schools to assist them with interpreting the results. And that is very, very important because the questions are set up to determine what the students know from the previous level and what they should be able to do going forward. Now that will tell them, how do I adjust the learning plans? And that information is very critical. You have alluded earlier about the PEP. That information for grades 4, 5, and 6 will also help us to determine how do we adjust the areas that we will assess going forward. So all of that information is available and ready for dissemination to our schools. And I can assure you that the higher level grades, they are developing their own tools to do their individual assessment with the specialist subjects. Going forward, Janella, based on the curriculum focus areas, then the schools will of course have their internal assessment. You're familiar with the midterm and the tri-weekly exams. They vary from school to school. But end of year assessment also is a normal part of what our schools will do. We will provide information going forward as to what is possible in terms of what the data is saying now, those core areas that we would have narrowed down and identified. Is it possible within the next 52 days to cover those areas? And if we're able to reach that based on what we pick up from the diagnostic, then schools will have their end of term assessment, or perhaps it will go over into the new term. We have to be flexible with what is happening on the ground because there are changing scenarios. We're in a pandemic, and the decisions that we take will have to be in the best interest of our students. But the system is in place, the framework is in place, and we will continue in dialogue with our teachers and our principals so we can make the right decisions going forward.
Is there a policy for the opening of early childhood institutions, Minister? And my final question has to do with orientation. I note where one school had in St. Thomas had face-to-face orientation. Is it that schools are allowed to have face-to-face orientation? So the policy or the policy going forward for early childhood educational institutions, as well as what is the ministry's position on orientation, given what happened in Yalos yesterday?
Okay, because schools will be opening remotely, having face-to-face orientation is not allowed. We were very clear on how schools should be opened, how principals and teachers should be getting the information out to the parents. And so at this time, based on the information that we have from the Ministry of Health and Wellness, from our stakeholders, the JTA, the Parenting Association, the Principals Association, face-to-face school is not allowed at this time.
And early childhood institutions like preschools, etc., what is the ministry's position?
It's the same position across our different school sectors.
Thank you so much.
All right.
We now have 3 questions from Nika Lewis from Nationwide News Radio. Are all teachers using the LMS fully trained in its usage?
Today,
what's the expectation of usage come October 5?
Okay.
And is it unlawful for schools to reopen in light of the ministry's pronouncements?
All right. Thank you for those questions. With regards to the learning management system, the ministry has ensured that by now well over 20,000 of our teachers would have been trained on the system. And as I said earlier in the presentation, almost 200,000 students would have already logged on to the learning management system. We have been onboarding schools and students, and the way we do that is to create emails for schools and students, and we have been going through that process. So we're heartened to know that almost 200 students have already logged on to that system. And we know that our teachers are trained. They are also logged on to it. We've seen where teachers have logged on more than once, twice, thrice to the system to get familiarity with it and to ensure that come the beginning of the school year that they will be ready to create those virtual classrooms and to ensure that the teaching and learning happens in a seamless manner.
Her third question, how prepared is the sector to optimally cater to children with special needs, given the change in teaching and learning delivery?
Okay, I'll begin the question, but I'll ask Dr. Troop as well to add, anything else that she would like to add. I know that we have a special focus on students with special needs. We are providing them with devices that are specially tailored to their needs. We are in the process of downloading special software for those students. As an example, for students who are sight impaired, we have a Braille division here at the ministry that has been preparing those materials for our students that are without sight or have limited sight and are dependent on material that's written in Braille. So we know the breadth of disabilities across our special needs students, and we're doing everything we can to ensure that we bring resources to bear so that those students also are getting the teaching and learning experience. Dr. Troop, you want to add?
Mr. Saunders from the Jamaica Observer has another question.
Hold on, Cheryl. Thank you, Minister. I think Minister really did a comprehensive response on that as it relates to our preparation. But just to reiterate, a part of what we are doing also is the training of our parents. The special education community is a very small number. We have approximately 4,000 of those students that we are working with. And we partner with our private educational institutions also to provide services for them based on their diagnosis. So we have a range, be it visually impaired, be it behavioral or emotional disorders, intellectual disabilities. So for those types of needs, we partner with private institutions as well. For this year, we have placed, I think, 125 students into special education programs, and we have committed approximately $25 million for that. And that will also add to what we had placed last year. Last year we placed 665 students in special education programs to the tune of approximately $148 million. So we have been providing for our special needs students. We have audited the system, and we also know the needs for their tablets. And we have been responding to that just yesterday, in addition to the fact that we would have distributed some tablets for them. We actually allocated another 150 tablets for our special needs students, reducing now the need to approximately 350 to be filled for them. So we have been working with the special needs community. We have been providing the additional teachers. So these institutions will need additional teachers to support the students from a distance. We have been working with making sure the institutions are given the number of teachers that they require at this point in time. We have also been training the parents. We had several training sessions with the parents over the period to deal with how to support the students from home. We have changed the arrangement for the engagement of caregivers. These persons are normally deployed at the school level. We have now made the decision to make these persons available at the home level to support the parents. We have also developed a manual that our parents are working with. For those parents who have children with intellectual disabilities, we had to rework the curriculum, and so we have a manual, a companion that our parents have been trained to use so they can provide the stimulation and support for our special needs students.
This brings us to our final question.
Thank you,
Ms. Alpha Saunders, go ahead with your question.
Okay, what is the directive to daycares, which also fall under the ministry, even though they may be outside of the formal school system? We haven't heard anything recently.
PS or Dr. Troop?
So, Althea, in the Disaster Risk Management Act, mention was made re the phased allowance, of course, in keeping with the protocol under the Ministry of Health and Wellness for daycares to be open once they are cleared. And that, of course, was done because of the fact that parents are going to work and they would need somewhere for the children to be taken care of. So we are guided by that protocol. The Early Childhood Commission is actually responsible for our daycare centers. They have been providing guidance to these facilities. They have inspected some of these facilities to make sure that they are in keeping with the protocols. We anticipate that as we officially start the new school year on next week, then we are going to see that demand, and hence the Early Childhood Commission is prepared to continue to support these institutions so that they can offer that service as best as possible.
So let me say thank you to the media, thank you to our technicians, thank you to the staff at the ministry here. Thank you everyone who participated this afternoon. Thank you.
What if they knew that you abused her? Her family?
Mr. Jones,